All right, so today we're going to be talking about midpoint and endpoints and segments. Remember, an endpoint is if you have 2 points. Oh my gosh. You have A and B. These are going to be your endpoints, A and B. All right. Then, say you have 2 midpoints, A and B. Your midpoint, mid, is going to be that middle point right in the middle. All right. That means this side is equal to this side. Say this is C. So AC is congruent to CB. It's the same length. That's your middle point. And the segment is just a segment. Just like these, segment A, B. It's a segment. So, going to our first example, we have segment DT has an endpoint at D -7, -3, and another endpoint at T 5, 3. What is the location of the midpoint? So, between the midpoint formula and the distance formula, what formula would we use? Very good. We're going to use the midpoint formula. So you have x1, y1. Let's see. x1, y1. x2, y2. So then you're just going to plug them into this formula just like you see them. All right, so the first part is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So we have our x1, which is -7, plus x2, which is 5 divided by 2, comma, our y1, -3 plus 3 divided by 2. Then we're going to plug that all into Desmos. So if you plug that into Desmos, what do you get? All right, so you should have gotten -1, comma 0. Remember, you have to plug this part in first for x, and then you have to plug this part in for y separately. Just like you see in Desmos over here, like I did it, that's how you would do it. All right? So your answer would be D. So our next example. Segment FJ has an endpoint at -7, -2, and another endpoint at 9, 6. What is the location of the midpoint H? Am I going to use the midpoint formula or the distance formula? Very good. We're going to use the midpoint formula. So, you have x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Then if you have the points x1, y1, and x2, y2, what would the formula be if you plug in those points? What would the formula be if you plug in those points? Very good. It would be -7 plus 9 divided by 2, comma, -2 plus 6 divided by 2. Now, I want you to plug this into Desmos. Remember, do x first and then y. What would your final answer be? All right, you should have gotten 1, 2. So that would have given you answer choice B. All right, so segment DT has a midpoint at -1, 0. If D is located at -7, -3, what is the location of point T? Now this one's different because we have the midpoint. This is your midpoint. So we're looking for the other endpoint. Are we going to use the midpoint formula or the distance formula? Very good. We're going to use the midpoint formula. M equals x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So this midpoint has to go where the m is. So that's -1, 0 equals x1, y1 equals -7 plus x divided by 2, -3 plus y divided by 2. Now remember, we have to equal this x value with which part of this equation over here? Very good, this part. Then we need to equal this 0 with the second part. So you have -1 equals -7 plus x divided by 2, and you have 0 equals -3 plus y divided by 2. So giving you this information, what would your final answer be? All right, so you should have gotten x equals 5 and y equals 3. So your final answer would have been 5, 3, which is D. All right, so going on to this one, I want y'all to go ahead and give this one a try. I'm gonna let you read it and do all the questions. So segment FG has a midpoint at H1, 2, and J is located at 9, 6. What is the location of F? Are we going to use the midpoint formula or the distance formula? Very good, the midpoint formula. Midpoint. So, what point is the midpoint? 1, 2, or 9, 6? Very good, 1, 2. So you have m equals x1 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So this point right here has to be the midpoint. 1, 2, and then x1, y1. 9 plus x2 divided by 2, comma, 6 plus y2 divided by 2. Now I want you to solve the rest of the problem. All right, you should have gotten x equals -7 right there, and then y equals -2, which would have given you C. So now for our next type of question. John is making a map of the school on a coordinate grid. He plots the gym at 5-4, gym at 5-4, bus pickup at 5-0, and the school at 9-6. If each unit represents 2 blocks, how far is the gym from the school to the nearest block? Gym from the school. So I'm looking for gym and school. What point represents the gym? Very good, 5-4. And what point represents the school? Very good. And then we also have each unit represents 2 blocks. Each unit represents 2 blocks. So, am I going to use the midpoint formula or the distance formula? Very good, the distance formula. So D equals square root x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And we have our 2 points that we're using. 5, 4, and 9, 6. X1 plus x1, y1, x2, y2. If you plug in these 2 points into the distance formula, what would the equation be? Very good. Square root 9 minus 5 squared plus... Very good. You would have gotten this. So then what you do is you plug it into Desmos. Just like you see it. Exactly how you see it, actually. 9 minus 5 squared plus... Oh, round to your nearest block. Okay. So you have 4.4, right? That should be your answer. That should be your answer, but you have to make sure to read. If each unit represents 2 blocks, you want to multiply your final answer by 2. So what's 4.4 times 2? That gives us 8.8. And the closest answer to that would be what? Very good, C. Okay. Then we'll do this one right here. Segment AB represents one side of a regular polygon or regular square, so we know square. So this represents one side of a square. So if we draw it, it looks something like that. Based on the information in the graph, what is the perimeter? I mean, perimeter means add all sides of the square in units. Round your answer. So we need to figure out the distance from on this side. So if we want to figure out the distance, we want to use the distance formula. So our first thing is to label our points. x1, y1, x2, y2, and then you just plug them in to this formula. So if you plug in these 2 points that I have into this formula, what would your formula be? Very good. It should have come out something like this. And then you just plug it into Desmos exactly how you see it. With every parentheses you use. So you have around 13. So you get around 13. The thing about a square is how many sides does it have? 4. Very good. So you have to multiply 13 times 4. What is 13 times 4? 52. And that would be my answer. So then we have these kinds of forms. This is the distance. These are a little bit harder to explain. So find R on N M that is 1/4 of the distance from N to M. So 1/4 of the distance, we have to do rise over run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So you need to break that up into 4 equal parts. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what you have is, how do you explain this? We'll just end there actually. All right, so we have the drawing of the day. The drawing of the day. I didn't think about this. Drawing of the day. Oh, okay, I got it. Drawing of the day. It's a little background for your picture. All right. I actually don't know what the name of this in Spanish is. Maybe y'all can teach me during class when we do this lesson. But I think he looks pretty good. What do y'all think? I know there's a story about this. The caterpillar. Oh, I didn't say it. But what did Miss Fisher draw today? She accidentally almost gave you the answer. Wow.